but she was being kind.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's not really a welcome back. You're kind of in just part two of this year. But what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be working on some Japanese ink brush paintings. Now, downside to this, you don't have a Japanese ink brush. The upside is you can totally do it with the paintbrush you have and your watercolors. You will be using mostly black. You will use an occasional highlight color, but really not too much more than that. And will be looking to get 3 whole paintings done. Don't freak. We can do it all in about a week. I'm going to share my screen. We can start talking about ink brush painting. Sumei is an ink brush painting, and you're looking at 2 people doing Sumai ink brush paintings right here. Uh, you can see the method over here on Our Lady. She has a block of what is ground up. Well, it's not ground up. She'll grind it up, but it's pigment. They add a little water to there after they grind it with a abrasive stone, and she basically makes the ink right out of there. They hold their brushes usually vertically, but I find it really interesting that this guy is holding his brush pretty much like anybody else that we ever know would hold a brush. Uh, so maybe that was more of a tale than actuality. I'm not too sure. I always thought it was legit until I just looked over to my right. You learn something new every day. All right, Sumai brush paintings are usually very simple. As you can tell from here, these all have the same subject matter, which is a flower and some birds. All right. There's a little bit of color on the one on the right because they used a yellow paper, so they decided to highlight that with some white. One on the left, you see some red orange that they just basically faded out by adding more water to it. Brush paintings are generally quick, they're generally about nature. So as we take a look at these, um, there's no denying that the majority of the ink brush paintings are about nature, or at least incorporate some huge amount of nature here. As we look at these bamboo trees, our bamboo stalks, and then the tree on the right, this is all made by single lines. So the amount of pressure you put on your brush is going to give you the thickness of that line. So each chunk of bamboo started, stopped, started, stopped, started, stopped, boom, boom, boom. Speed is crazy in this. All right. Also, you see that they sign their name. More often than not, they have a stamp that they would create that would be their logo or the symbol of their name. And they would put that on each picture. Sometimes you would see more than one stamp. That would generally mean there was more than one artist that worked on that painting. Here's some very nice pictures of animals. I don't feel like any of these are particularly old ones. Most of the Sumi paintings that we have from the past are, over 100 years old, which is kind of impressive that paper would be last that long, because generally it doesn't, except for comic books. All right, cats, goldfish, anything that we have seen so far is fair game for your subject matter as you're doing your 3 paintings. All right. And if we look at this cat is really almost broken down to very simple line shapes. I see like a letter G here. I see an upside down L. I see a L with a short bottom here. All right. Now, some of the Sumi paintings are very complicated. You see multiple colors in them. You see textures. What's interesting about these when you start to look at multiple blocks is they would have a guy in the area who was the best waterfall painter. And then they'd have another guy in the area who would be the best rock painter, mountains. And then they'd have somebody who was the best tree painter. It wasn't uncommon for people to add work onto each other's stuff. That way they could create more work faster, kind of a high end production. There's your typical bamboo Japanese brush. There's a very simplistic mountain, one artist. There's another one, more detail. Unfortunately, that one's not particularly clear. Was this ever applied to human figures? Yes. You could apply anything to a human figure, any medium for the most part. Now, these are older ones. You can tell because probably back in feudal Japan, there was not a lot of banjo players. But spot coloring, browns for the hands and the face and the ankles, a light tan for the banjo's front. This one, designed in the background, just writing. Why does it look cooler than if we just put letters behind ours? Because we don't know what that says. Right. These are more atypical of kind of the quick drawings that you would have in Sumi figure drawing. Right. Let's take a quick look at the stamps because they too could be very intricate. Some of these would be Japanese letters. Some of these would just be symbols that the artist came up with to represent them. And these were publisher marks. So if you worked for an art house and you wanted to know which art house, it might be the Lotus Workhouse, right? Or it might be the Mint Tea Workhouse. All right. This effect, using black ink, letting it dry, then adding water to that black ink. In this case, you'll be able to use watercolor. And then this one's cool because we start getting, as I go further down here, into the more complicated. Unfortunately, not real clear. That one's much better. All right. Still a limited amount of colors. You've got green, yellow, and blue, along with black, and a little bit of orange. Fades, clouds coming down like smoke. Any of this stuff is fair game. The only downside to this is if you're doing a tree with flower blossoms. If you're using watercolors, your flower blossoms should probably be painted first if they're going to overlap the branch. Little boat. Down to more animals. Here's somebody actually showing you how to do a horse. It's almost like the impression of a horse, the way they've started out. Not unlike a cartoon is an impression of something that's real. That one's just awesome. Although I would throw money down that is a more modern version. Okay, so that's about it that I'm going to show you. So I'll stop my share there. 3. They'll go quick. Trust me. Paper-wise, maybe about 18 inches by 9. So if you took one of those big sheets of paper I gave you guys, and you fold it in half, and then you fold it the other way, I think you should get at least 4 pieces out of there. You could choose to do it on, this is going to be tough. You could choose to do it on the yellow paper, but it would be very hard to add a white highlight. You would almost have to use the white color pencil. All right. So when you start to come up with ideas, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Unfortunately, I am going to be out for like a day, two, maybe. So if you're rewatching this video, that's where we're going with it. I would suggest by the time the week gets done, you could have had two knocked out. They're really easy to do, guys. They're quick brush drawings. Hardest part is figuring out what you want to paint. Once you got that, you're fine. All right, that's it for today. Have a good day. Stay out of trouble. Can't stay out of trouble. Don't get caught. And don't put any of your deeds up on Facebook or TikTok because you will get arrested.